I guess I'm next. My name's Ray Lutz, L-U-T-Z. I'm with citizensoversight.org from San Diego area. My background is in engineering, so I like to read over all of this stuff that they produced. And it is kind of ghastly how the engineers at Southern California Edison went out of their way to avoid public scrutiny of this massive change to the plant. Like on like, but what they did was extract probably a whole third of the critical area of this plant, took it out, and replaced it with brand new ones that had been completely redesigned on the inside. Yeah, the outside shell looked the same, but the inside was completely redesigned, and you can read about that in the international, it's called Nuclear Energy International, a journal article that the engineers themselves wrote about how proud they were, that they worked around public scrutiny and were able to avoid review by the NRC for this massive change. And guess what's happening now? We have this thing in distraught because of their decisions to misdesign it. We have some important decisions to make as members of the public. And the problem here is that our elected officials have all taken money from Southern California Edison and Southern SDG&E and Sempra Energy, massive amounts of money. The media takes money from these organizations as well, advertise on all of your stations. So it's hard to get the message out here sometimes about what's going on. You also have public relations officials from the plant who go overboard on telling you, painting a pretty picture about what's going on here. It isn't a pretty picture, folks. It isn't a pretty picture in Fukushima. It isn't a pretty picture in Chernobyl. It isn't a pretty picture in 3 Mile Island. We don't want it even uglier here. We put a great trust in these organizations to provide energy safely. We don't want anything that's unsafe. They have to be absolutely safe. Not just a release now and then, oh, that's no problem. That wasn't a release that was of a concern because it just drifted away into the air. They're supposed to be absolutely safe. What we found out with 3 Mile Island, there was no earthquake there or tsunami. That was human error and a stuck valve. And the whole place went into meltdown. It wasn't an earthquake or tsunami in Chernobyl. That was another error. And now that place is encased in concrete and you still can't go within 50 miles of it. But we now know that it isn't just human error and these mistakes that'll turn this into a disaster. We also know that we live on an earthquake moving tectonic plate right here. This is called the Ring of Fire all around the Pacific. The same ring of fire that's over in Japan comes all the way around here. We're on the same ring. The movements that happen over there move over here because this is the edge of the same plate. We know that we're due for another huge earthquake here. California is supposed to fall into the ocean, some people say. Now, we don't believe that. But we do know that we're at least 16 feet behind where this thing's supposed to be. So the plates are supposed to move 16 feet. Any day, they could happen. We also have the ocean right here, and guess what? We can have big waves. It was 133 feet in Japan. We only have a 14-foot seawall over high tide here. That's a little bit different than 133 feet. Now you say, well, we have backup systems. They'll just click right on, and that'll protect us. Guess what? This plant has pumps hooked up to batteries. They were disconnected for not a day, not 4 days, not even a week, not 4 weeks, not 4 months, 4 solid years. They were not hooked up. That means if we had any disaster, guess what would happen? No pumps turn on, thing melts down, thing is devastated, 8 million people have to be evacuated. We can't trust these guys. They can't even keep the batteries hooked up. Now we also have the earthquake. They say, well, we're protected for 7.0 earthquake. It was 9.0 in Japan. That's 100 times more. It's only 2 digits, but it's 10 times for every digit. That's 100 times worse earthquake than we're used to here. But guess what? They've only been measuring earthquakes for a short time. We don't know what happens over millions of years. We could have a huge earthquake here. Lake Wolford over by Escondido. It's being taken down and rebuilt. Why? Because it only is designed for a 7.0 earthquake. This is only a 7.0 here, but they're not talking about taking it down and rebuilding it. I hope they don't, because it should just be taken down and not rebuilt. Steam generators, they said, well, we'll just redesign everything on the inside and we'll fool the public. We'll have that skin on the outside. No one will know that we've changed everything. NRC, we paid you off, so you're not going to ask us any questions. Now we find out they've changed the whole guts of the thing, and they don't even operate. The last one's operated how long? 28 years. This one dies in 18 months. Blows a cork on the inside, blows out, and releases radioactive gases to the atmosphere. Well, that's no problem, they say. No one died from that. How many people died? They keep saying that, oh, there's been no deaths. There's been up to 1 million people died from premature cancer near Chernobyl. Who talks about this? Not the media. They've been paid off by the nuclear companies. Now look, we've got a situation here where these are shut down due to engineering problems. We also know that this is a disaster area waiting to happen, even if those didn't happen. This company cannot be trusted to run this safely. It cannot be turned back on. We cannot trust these people. The public is the only group that can say no. Will the elected officials say no? Doubt it. They've been paid off. How about the media? Well, they never say no to anything. They're just media. They cover stuff. So they don't say no. Hopefully they will cover it. Who does say no? Only the public, and that's why we're here. And we're here to say no. You are not going to turn the plant back on. It's going to be decommissioned. And if you attempt to restart it, you will be endangering the public, because we will have protests. We will have people that are going crazy around this plant to make sure it stops. We are not going to stop doing this. So cut our losses now and decommission the plant. Do not restart this plant. Thank you very much.
Donna, do you want to?